Right, I've come back to Alexandra Park. It's my favourite place, favourite park in Oldham. I love coming here. It was commissioned in the mid-1800s when the American Civil War was on. There was no work, so the government basically said, tell you what, men of Oldham build this park, and that's how it came about. The reason why I've come today is I wanted to do a new video because I've got a new camera, and I thought there's no other better place really to try it, to see how it works and get used to it and everything else. So I thought I'd come here. Excuse me. So Alexandra Park, these are the steps into the park itself. Very grand. Once we get to the top of these steps, just showing you a bit the view behind me as I was coming up. It's really windy day, and I thought these were absolutely hilarious. Now I'm going to button it in a minute because there's some nice sounds in the park, but I'm going to come back in when we get to the fountain because there's an interesting story. If you look at John Platt, who's coming up the first statue, there was a situation with his brother James. When I get to the fountain, I'll explain it all to you. Now, this is the statue of John Ashcroft. John Ashcroft. He was MP of Oldham. Now, this poor bugger did about 4 years as MP and then he died. Now, the good thing about Ashcroft, he was called the people's friend. He was a solicitor and he basically championed people's rights. And got better working hours, better pay and other bits and pieces. He also took a young Winston Churchill under his wing, and he's actually mentioned in Churchill's book. He's in one of the chapters where he talks about him. So this is quite an interesting statue, and they've just re-inscribed it, so I just wanted to put that in there also, but very interesting. Right, I've decided I'm not going to wait to tell you the story about James Platt. James Platt died in, I think it was 1857. He'd gone shooting up Oldham with a Mayor of Oldham who was called Josiah Radcliffe. He was related to the Platts. They all peed in the same pot, I think. Now, John Platt, who you've just seen, he was James's brother. Anyway, James went shooting and Josiah stumbled on a rock and he blew James's calf off. I'll put a picture of him in the video so you know who he is, right? And basically what happened was he got took back to Ashway Gap and they couldn't stop the bleeding and he bled out and he died on the bed. It was just a big wash of blood. Now Josiah Radcliffe was Mayor of Oldham. I'll put a picture of him in as well so you can see him. But he never ever got over it. Apparently. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is I want you to see when we get to the fountain what's there. So if you can see this here now, this fountain was given to the park by Josiah Radcliffe, who is the man who shot James Platt's leg off. Now I only made this connection today. I knew Josiah Radcliffe was, but I only made it today. So now I'm going to button it because I want you to look at this beautiful fountain and listen to the sounds. Now this area is the promenade which leads down to Rebecca at the well, and in a minute I'll come across a bench which I've seen many times, but it's dedicated to a few people. I imagine they probably sat there on the bench and looked out and watched what was going on. So at one point, after I've filmed the bench, I sit in it and just do a filming of what they would have seen as they were looking round, and it's a lovely sight. This statue that you're looking at, and if you can cast your mind back to the little girl you saw on the entrance on the way in, they're both reproductions. This particular statue, Rebecca at the well, she was smashed off a plinth in the 60s and recreated in early 2000. I think it was the artist's daughter or niece who posed for this, because they only had photographs, so it's a reproduction best they could do. What I'm going to do now, I'm not going to comment anymore. If you want to sort of see a bit more of in-depth tour of the park, the photography obviously isn't as good because I did it on my mobile, but the video itself is, I think, quite interesting and informative, and it's filmed during the winter through the snow and everything. It's really nice. So that's on my channel. So if you just look on my channel, you'll see it. Alexandra, it's about 40 minutes long, but it's a walking tour, and I literally talk about everything in the park. The old rock, this pagoda that you're looking at now, all the history, the bits that I've mentioned today, sort of like about Platt and Josiah Radcliffe and Robert Ashcroft. I said John Ashcroft before, it's Robert Ashcroft. Then that's all of that sort of stuff is new, but the other stuff still remains. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. And I've got a video coming out soon, which is Oldham local ghost stories from the people who've seen them or experienced them in their houses. I'm going to go to the locations, I'm going to put the videos on, I'm going to put a few pubs in there, so it'll be a good one, and that'll be coming up in the next few days.